Hello everyone, Kate here from Keight Krafts, sharing with you another project for Hollow Tree Hobbies. Let's get started. So to kick things off, we are going to be using Fawn's Mountain Stencil with a bit of a twist. You see, I'm not going to use it for making mountains. We are going to do a patterned background. So you'll see here in a minute. So what I'm doing here is I am taking some tumbled glass and we are going to go heavy-handed because my tumbled glass is very dry and I really desperately need a re-inker. So I'm trying my best to go over this as best as I can, so bear with me. Don't worry, you don't have to suffer through all of it. So once we've gone ahead and done the tumbled glass, we are going to move it down a bit and we are going to do more tumbled glass. So I really struggle with this. My advice would be to make sure that you have a fully loaded brush in order to do this, and make sure your pad is juicy. Now recently I had cleaned all of my brushes, so they're not as juicy as I would like them, nor is my ink pad, so I struggle with this. Again, if you have a juicy ink pad, you should be fine. So again, I've shifted down the mountain stencil, and we are going to go over it yet again with some more of this tumbled glass, and we are just going to go back and forth with it. Now, if you're curious about any of the products that I use in today's project, I will leave them linked in the description box below, so you can head over to Hollow Tree Hobbies and check them all out. So we're running into the home stretch here with this tumbled glass, and once I am satisfied with the amount that I have on here, now I'm careful just to do a gradient because that's what we want, because the next step we are going to flip it around and we are going to use the negative of this stencil. So I'm lining this up very careful. I'm going to use my magnets to hold it in place, and then we are going to go in with some shaded lilac, which is quite juicier than my tumbled glass. So you can see how much I lay down here with one little swoop here. It is very juicy, but again, my brushes are clean, so it'll take a while to build up any sort of residue onto my brush. So bear with me again. We are just going back and forth with this shaded lilac, and then once we're happy with the amount that we have on there, we'll end up shifting this down again and lining everything up. And you can see with the second pass here, all I'm doing is bringing a bit of that shaded lilac up into the tumbled glass to create this lovely little gradient. Now, I love the contrast of the shaded lilac and the tumbled glass. I don't know what it is, but it really gives it a dimension with this stencil. Now, you could probably try this with any positive, negative stencil if it's got some shape to it. I haven't tried it with anything else because this just popped into my head and I was like, oh, this would be a lovely background. So that's what we're doing today. So again, I'm just lining everything up, making sure everything's where it needs to be. And then I'm going to take more of that shaded lilac and I'm going to bring that gradient all the way up. Now you can be a little more even with this, but I wasn't measuring too much with this because we are going to end up cutting this down. And once I'm satisfied with that, we are going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. Now I'm just very easily taking off little slivers so I get the best edges of all the sides. So that's all we're doing here. So once I'm satisfied with that, we are going to take our panel and we are going to add our little critters and our background. So what I've done here was I've taken some of the orange paper from the stripes and speckles, and I've cut out my letters from the inside of it because nobody's going to see the inside and nobody will know that we cut out all these letters except for you and I who are watching. And we are going to take the letters and we're going to use our grid mat here and we are going to line them up. So it says we heard. Now I know I didn't spell it right, but because we have a herd of critters, it just, I don't know, it was very punny. I got a giggle out of it, so I'm giggling while I'm making this. So I've taken some low-tack tape, and I am going to put our critters on there just to kind of eyeball where they need to be, get a good idea of what that looks like, and then we are going to go in with some liquid glue, and we're going to go along the back side here. Not a whole lot, we just want enough for this to stick. And once I have gone over every single letter, we are going to take the ends, like I used the low tack tape so we'll be able to pull this up, but I also don't want it to stick to my fingers too hard. So I'm going to take my mat here and kind of use it as a grid, and then we're going to line that up as best as we can, and then once I'm happy with that, I'll give that a good mash down. And then we'll take our herd of critters, which I find absolutely adorable. And this little herd of critters is from Simply Celebrate More Critters. And I tell you, the Simply Celebrate line, I don't know what it is, but little critters all in a row, just, it's so cute. I love it. So next we are going to take our tweezers with some liquid glue on the back side of these guys, line that up as best as we can, give that a good mash down, and then we can go ahead and peel up the low tack tape on the letter. Now I'm being very careful pulling these letterings up because I don't want to pull the lettering up, but I want to pull the low tack tape up. So once we've done that, now we can add some foam strips to the back. Now this is some very thin foam tape that I have, and I've just made it to where it'll prop just up a little bit from the stripes and sprinkles paper. And I'll go ahead and peel off the release tape back here. My fat fingers can pull that off. And then, of course, like I always like to do, we are going to add some liquid glue to the back side of the sticky part, and we are going to double stick. So once I have the desired amount of glue, we are going to stand above our project, line up our opposite corners, and then give that a good mash down. So next, I thought I would pull in my Sakura Stardust pen, and I just love this pen. It is one of my favorites if you've been watching me for a while. And I thought I would just add a couple of lines here. And then I thought, you know what? No, we are just going to chicken scratch all over the letters, because why not? I mean, this is going to be a big secret that we heard, and even though I'm not sure what the secret is, I just thought it was really punny to add this sentiment with these adorable little Simply Celebrate More critters. And because my background was lacking, I guess it was a little lackluster, I added a little shine. So I'm just adding some dots along these little curves here, and then I'll go ahead and add those to the rest of the curves. And then once I'm done with that, then we'll add a little bit more. I don't know, I found that this was a lot of fun to make. I was kind of wondering what kind of background I was going to use because I really wanted to use the Simply Celebrate More critters because it never gets enough love from me because I just love this set. And I thought, you know what, it would be fun to create a background with the stencil, so that's what we did today. So once I am satisfied with the amount of sparkle we have, oh no, we got a little bit more here. I couldn't help but add. Yeah, I guess more is more and less is more and more is less and more and less. So once I'm satisfied with the amount of sparkle we have here, all we're going to need to do next is put this onto a card base. So you can see where I cut the letters out. I want to make sure to add a little bit of extra glue to that so that way it gets really stuck down, and I had some of that glue on my desk. So you might want to be careful with where you're putting glue and your desk. So once I've put enough glue on that, we will take our little panel here, and this is something that I like to do. I like to put it on upside down so I could see. And here we have your finished card. I thank you all for watching. I really encourage you to head over to the Hollow Tree Hobbies website. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.